Hello fantasy faithfuls and welcome to Scheme Fit Season 4, Episode 4. Today I will be looking at Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts.
In the backfield, Rivers, deep shot from Rivers, over the shoulder, Mike Williams.
First, let's take a look at Rivers and his passing patterns. Rivers has the opposite passing patterns of a fantasy stud. He passes a ton to the short right, the worst zone for fantasy scoring. Same with the deep left, but it might fit the Colts, so I don't want to attack this too much. His accuracy has been top-notch across the board though. Even as he had 20 interceptions in 2019, he was one of the most accurate deep passers in the entire league with over 68% completion rate in all deep zones. His yards per completion is, however, not the best. The short zones are fine, around average, but all deep zones are below league average by a few yards. With the high accuracy and lower yards for an older guy, this is mostly due to arm strength at this point. Looking at his notable zones for targeting, completion rate, and yards per completion, the short right and deep left will be key zones for targeting. For completion, the short middle is fantastic, but I'm still more interested in the deep ball all across the board. His yardage would benefit from some higher numbers from the Colts pass catchers. I'm not too worried if the catch rate is low for them, but if the yards per catch is low, that would be troubling.
2 on third down on this drive. Brissett looks both ways. Quick pass, that's complete. Going for the end zone is Zach Pascal for the touchdown.
Let us now focus a little bit on Frank Reich. Frank Reich had been a head coach for the Colts for 2 years, up and down for the receivers and quarterback scoring during that time, mainly due to Andrew Luck playing in 2018 and not 2019. Even with Reich calling the 9th most pass plays in the league in 2019, his quarterbacks just finished 25th in fantasy scoring and his wide receivers finished 28th. That is not a high return on investment. So with the current trends, the health and age of players on the roster, and the opponents in 2020, I don't see Rivers getting more than 530 pass attempts in 2020. Breaking down the Colts receiving corps trends, it's all about the outside numbers for the pass catchers in Indianapolis with Brissett as their quarterback. He's not been a guy to throw over the middle. We see that both on short throws and deep throws. Some of the worst and lowest numbers over the middle in the NFL. For accuracy, nothing really stood out for the Colts last year. Their receiving corps struggled to catch shorter throws and deep throws. The best they did was 70% in the short left and 52% in the deep left. So we at least have a side of the field that they can lean on. But when it comes to yards, this switches. They were more productive in the short left, which is good, but the deep left was terrible at only 23 yards per reception. They were really underwhelming in this part of the game, and I was hoping they would raise Rivers' yardage. But looking at their notable zones, the deep left will see a ton of targets for Rivers. They are somewhat used to this. Rivers usually pass more over the middle than what has been done for this group. The catch rate is just terrible all across the board, but as I said, I'm not too worried. Rivers will improve the catch rate on all deep balls, which should help improve the receivers, while Rivers takes a step back. And the yards, just as with catch rate, go up for the receivers, while yards per completion actually goes down even more for Rivers, making him a high completion rate, low yards quarterback with fewer pass attempts. This worries me for his fantasy production. I would like to take a second to remind you to hit that like button, leave a comment what you think about this video, and subscribe to the channel. I love every interaction I have with y'all, and every little bit helps me put out even more content. When it comes to calling pass plays, Reich have called a pass on 49% of his first downs, 48 on second, and 78 on third. That is less passes on each down compared to what Rivers saw in Los Angeles. And looking at Rivers' productivity on these downs, we see that he's more productive on first and second compared to third. So this looks pretty bad for the play calling. It will be more runs compared to passes on each down and more pass plays on third, where he's less accurate. Breaking down the red zone trends, Rivers had over 20 more red zone attempts than Brissett in 2019, but they scored the exact same amount of touchdowns at 15. Rivers can throw red zone touchdowns anywhere. He has no clear zone where he's better in. That was not the case in Indianapolis last year. The pass catchers scored 80% of their red zone touchdowns in the outside zones. Brissett took care of the ball much better in the red zone than Rivers last year, with 0 interceptions versus 3 from Rivers. So Rivers will have fewer red zone attempts, but a team that is more efficient, I don't think he will see a big change from 15 red zone touchdowns.
In the backfield, Luck fires it inside. Oh, there goes T.Y. Hilton. It's a foot race, and there he goes. Touchdown!
As a conclusion, let's look at their synergies and bad fits as usual. The short left is actually pretty decent. Sure, it is the Rivers' least accurate short zone, but high yardage for both him and the receivers, and the Colts' best patch catching zone. All deep zones will improve for the receivers, while Rivers takes a small step back, but still good enough to end up this list. With that, we have the deep zones and short left produce ton of yards on a lot of throws, and ball security should improve. Reich had Brissett be somewhat conservative, and that ties into the bad fits as well. There will be fewer pass attempts for Rivers in 2020, more pass attempts on third down, which is unfortunate. This is still a running team, and the short zone yardage won't be that great. As I said before, a lot of completions for short gains. In conclusion, I won't be drafting Rivers in 2020. For fantasy, he is a very average quarterback, and his weapons took a big hit going to the Colts. I would not mind drafting Jack Doyle or T.Y. Hilton if the price is right. I have both of them for over 25% improvement in total yards with Rivers compared to Brissett. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for even more content. Till next time. Hello Fantasy Faithful, I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget to check out more of them right here and here. In case you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a beat.